My name is Sarah and I work at Pierre Haddad in Chifley Plaza. I've been a colorist here for about 10 years now. Today I'm going to go through a couple of terms that you've probably heard before, balayage and ombre, and going through the differences. Ombre is actually the look of dark into light, and balayage is the technique we use to create this look. So today I'm going to go through some techniques that I like to use in the salon to achieve this. Hi Chantal, what are we going to do with your color today?
Well, I wanted to be a bit lighter, but I didn't want to do with the regrowth.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of going for a balayage.
Yeah, you've seen some things that you like?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so how light do we want to go with it? Do you want it quite pronounced, quite noticeable through the ends?
No, I just wanted like a natural blonde.
More subtle?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then some around the face as well, so you feel like it's a bit brighter and opens up a bit?
Yep.
Yeah, wonderful. That'd be beautiful. After speaking to Chantal today, and to achieve her look, I'm going to just use a couple of different tones. I'm going to use a permanent color, which is a deeper blonde shade, down into my pre-lightener, which is going to create the brighter blonde through the ends, but still give a really diffused, cascading effect, so that way she doesn't have any type of regrowth, and it looks really sun-kissed and natural. I'm actually going to start in the front of her hair today, in her fringe and around the sides, because that's where we want the brightest color to be, and that's where it would naturally look lighter as well. So there are so many different sectioning techniques that we could use, you know, depending on what the client's hair is, how much color buildup they have on it. Chantal's hair, it's quite fine, doesn't have a lot of color history, so it's gonna lift very well. And to achieve the color going around the face, down through the fringe, I am going to start here, and I'm gonna do a little bit of my balayaging using some foils. To start the foil, I choose my section of hair and then I back comb, and it's the back combing of the section that creates the really diffused color. So onto the foil, I'm gonna go with my deeper shade of blonde and apply to the top half of the section. And just through that little bit of the ends, I'll add my pre-lightener, which gives that section just a little pop of color at the end and right around the face where we want it. Balayage is a really visual technique, and that's what I love about it and why it works for so many people. So if you want, you just look at where the color sits around the face and you just decide if that's what you want to lighten. So you choose what you leave dark and what you want to make light. So I'm just gonna do a few of these around the face, not too many, because it is quite fine. And because we don't want to get her too blonde or too far away from her natural color. Which is the really great thing about balayage as well, is because it allows you to not over color hair. You can do as little or as much as you want. It's a really progressive color. And again, my deeper shade of blonde through the top, and then the lightest one through the bottom. Now on the same side, I'm just gonna get into the hair around the face, create some movement through here. And again, just really visual sectioning. I look at this and then decide that I want that fringe to flow down into the rest of the hair to frame the face and look really natural. So I'm just looking at the sections I want to use, and again, teasing them. And this balayage can be done on all different types of color. It doesn't necessarily have to be on medium brown hair, going lighter through the bottom, or blondes. Like, it's amazing for creating those sort of Victoria's Secret type of shades, really natural, that suit that slightly wavy hair color. But you can do it as well on really bold shades, deep reds going down into magentas and mahoganies. It allows you to have a really bold color, but still done in a really soft, feminine way. Also, it's so good for breaking up pre-existing color on the hair. Just in case you're feeling, if you start to feel like you're all over one color shade or tint on the roots is making your hair look a little bit too unnatural, too flat, this is a good way to go about it and give some texture. It's also brilliant for changing your color completely. You can get a lot of coverage to the ends of the hair, which will take you from your existing color to a brand new one, especially if you are dark going light. We're not going to go too high up, just so we can maintain that it looks deeper through the top in the root area, going down into the lighter color, and then the brightest being through the ends. Okay, so I'm just going to continue using my foils through this crown section, and then I'm going to switch and use a free-handed technique through the mid-lengths and the ends. Okay, so now through the mid-lengths and ends, I'm going to start a freehand balayage technique. I put on gloves because I'm actually going to apply the color with my hands. So here I'm just picking up individual sections that I want to stand out, and again, lightly teasing and back combing that section, and then taking the color and generously applying it to the hair, and then working it back up. And it's that back combing through the top and blurring that color into the back combing is what gives it a really diffused line and makes it look natural and sun-kissed. And then this is where you can decide how much color you want to do, how light and how bright you want, how subtle or how obvious you want the color to be. So this is where, when I was saying about getting really good coverage and changing someone's hair color, if they have a lot of pre-existing color on the hair, or want a really dramatic color change, want to be blonde in one day, something like that, this technique is excellent. It's what I really like to use in salon myself when doing that, because you can literally cover so much of the hair. And with this underneath section that I'm freehanding on, onto the sections that I'm back combing, I'm only at this point using my pre-lightener rather than the two colors together, because this is the section that I want to be the lightest and the brightest through the end. Okay, so this technique of balayage is what's going to create that ombre effect that I was talking about initially. So a lot of that color through the top is still dark, and it's just this through the ends that's going to get lighter, and then the foil section that I've used in between is going to create that cascading effect, or the ombre of the dark down into the lightest sections. And this is just the way that I've chosen to go about it today, based on what I've chatted to Chantel about as her final result. But there are so many different ways that you can achieve the color. Okay, so I'm gonna do another technique of balayage, or another type that I like to use. And I'm actually just going to visually paint it on with my brush. And another way that I like to do it, or that it can be done, is with the brush, or sometimes I even like to go in with my comb and just run the comb through the ends of that top section, just bringing that color down through everything else. And by switching up the technique, doing some in foils, some on the back comb section, some just free-handed painted on, that creates a variance in the tone that you're going to get as well, which helps it to be even more of a transitional color. And then I'm just gonna go back around the face and make sure I'm just really picking up some of those sections. So that way when it's blow dried, especially if it's warm with a bit of curl or a bit of body, that really gets picked up and gives the hair a really nice movement. Okay, so I've let Chantel's hair process and I've had a look at it to make sure it's reached the desired level of lightness that I need for the result that we're after. So I'm just making sure that the color is out, and I'm going to shampoo and thoroughly condition before I start to take out the back combing. So I'm going to shampoo Chantel's hair now, and because we've done so much pre-lightening, I'm going to use a really moisturizing shampoo. I'm using our charcoal shampoo from our Perfect Hair range. So I'm just applying a nice moisturizing treatment to Chantel's hair, and I'm going to start to comb out that back combing now. The balayage is a very low maintenance technique. The only thing that you may need to do in between salon visits is refresh the toner, as toners are designed to wash out over time. So here we have Chantel's finished color result. You can see just like the cascade of color from the deeper color, still her natural on the top, down into the lighter shade to the bottom, and then just being that little bit lighter around her face, but without having anything going right to the root and creating a line of demarcation that's gonna grow out and be a regrowth that she's gonna have to maintain. And then the toning that we did at the basin just got rid of any unwanted undertones in the hair and gave us a really nice natural finish.